Why don't we go ahead and get started? Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. We're going to have 2 more of these, so tell your friends and family to show up at the next 2. Tomorrow night is at People's Baptist on West Avenue, and Thursday night is down at Zion Lutheran on West 9th Street. So, again, thanks for coming. I'm going to walk you through those 4 points and, basically let you decide. So let's walk through the first one. Live within your means. Unfortunately, folks, we are. This is not about the city running out of money. This is not about the city just, we're going to lay off police officers if this doesn't pass. We're not using, if you're happy with what you have today, then you'll still have that today after May 6th if the levy fails. Okay? It's not about running out of money. So the general fund budget, we started the year with a carryover of $251,000, 409. Okay? General fund revenue last year was almost $9.5 million. General fund expenses, $9.3 million, almost $9.4 million. Okay? So that means we had a carryover just for the year of a little over $116,000. Now that is definitely not where we want to be, but we have stopped the bleeding. We think we've neutralized what we have had going on in the past. And please remember that the state of Ohio has cut us over $750,000 in the last 3 years. And that's money that was in the local government fund that is not coming back. So overall, we started this year in the general fund with $367,000 in what we would consider a surplus. Okay? So revenue more than expenses. We're living within our means, even just for the year. Total budget last year for the city, total revenue coming in, was almost $25 million. Okay? Total expenses last year, just a hair over $23 million. That means for that year, 2013, $1.8 million is what we spent, or is the difference between our revenue coming in and the expense. In that total budget for the city, that $4.2 million carryover, there's a lot of projects, a lot of ODOT projects, OPWC projects, the money that we had from moving Ohio forward, all of that money that carries over from grants, mostly. That money's mostly grants. We didn't spend a heck of a lot of PI last year at all, so a lot of money was wrapped up into PI as well. The PI account you cannot spend in general fund where the police budget comes out. The police budget, if you go back to that general fund slide, there's a little over $9 million that we had in the general fund. That also has to pay for the fire department, the courts, administration, the solicitor's office, planning community development, the health department, and then the general fund also supplements a few departments. This year we supplemented Public Works by a little over $100,000, I believe, in 2013 to keep things status quo down there. So essentially, that $367,000 is the quote-unquote cushion that we have in case something were to happen in any one of those departments throughout the year. Just cut that overtime and hire people, everything will be fine. Well, that's not the case. Okay? Not all of the expenses in overtime can be solved by hiring people. Okay? I'm going to walk you through that. First off, there's nothing to hide here, folks. We do spend an enormous amount of money on overtime. The rest of it, the uniform overtime, is our patrolmen, is our lieutenants, is our detectives. Okay? So when we walk this through, I'm going to show you some of the hours that are spent in these departments. First off, with the detective bureau. Please, anybody correct me if I'm wrong. These are hours that will not go away, no matter how many people you hire. These are on-call detectives, which means there are guys, if we don't have a detective on duty, they are available, they're not out having a great time with their family, they're available by the phone to respond if something should happen. Okay? Court time. Incident overtime, you see, these are all 2013 numbers. Incident overtime, this is a lot of the it does not take that overtime, that a guy could be upgraded and then work that as a regular salary. Okay? Again, almost 200 hours in court time, 116 hours in sick time, 171 hours of incident overtime, and 140 hours of training. Again, you increase that staff, those bottom numbers besides that top one will go up. The top number will go down. The bottom ones will go up. I have noted right above there, our officers work 84 hours every 2 weeks. Okay, but with the 12-hour shift, comes out to 84 hours in the 2 weeks. Those extra 4 hours are paid at straight time. They are not paid at an overtime rate. Okay, so the officers actually work 2184, where your normal 40-hour week employees are at 2080. Okay, so you can see by even just that ratio, it doesn't jive hiring somebody there. Patrolmen, again, that top line will decrease with extra staff. 1,154 hours were spent from scheduled overtime. That means you have a platoon. The city's minimum manning is 3 officers on the road. Okay, there are platoons where we don't have a detective, so then the minimum is 4 patrolmen on duty. That 4th patrolman sits at the desk and does dispatching. We have 2 platoons that don't have a dedicated dispatcher. Okay, so again, that number will come down. Court time. With 5 new rookies out there, that should increase, along with what the guys are doing today. They have to go testify, traffic tickets, whatever it may be, somebody contesting, that number should go up. Training, that number will go up. 152 hours helping the sheriff's department, the marshals, the SWAT team, and assisting other departments. There are 3 more things that weren't reported that are critical to the overtime. Number 1, through the Department of Homeland Security, and this is a huge debate in your social media sites, the city of Ashtabula has a patrolman boat. Okay? It was given to us by Homeland Security. They pay 100% for the maintenance, they pay 100% for the fuel, and they pay 100% for the officers' overtime. That money is reflected in your overtime on the expense side, but it is also reflected on the income side. Okay? So we have to show it. The way fund accounting works, you have to show it on both. So in 2013, $23,447 was spent, and that total $407,000 in overtime went for the boat. We had a $13,500 payout last year. That's reflected in the overtime. Okay? The last thing, we all remember the K-9 lawsuit that the city had going back from a while back. Payouts in that came out of the overtime because that was a line item of overtime when it was originally expensed. If the contract had been the way we have it today as of now, this was kind of like a back pay. There was $40,000 in that. So right off the bat, you can take that $400,000 line item of overtime and chop it by almost $77,000. So the overtime is what's inflating those wages for those officers. But again, they work those hours, and I'm telling you, if you go and talk to them, they're not all thrilled about working that many hours a week. In 2012, when the city negotiated the new contracts, those new officers and all new employees in the city, if they've never been with the city before, are coming in at 10% less than what those wages were back in 2012. Okay? So a new patrolman, all in with benefits, everything, if they take the medical, is just over $66,000, and a new dispatcher is a little over $54,000.
We've gone forward trying to find other ways to fund the department, and we've looked into a lot of programs this year. There's quite a few things, and I actually have to write them down to remember all the things we're involved in. And as the city manager mentioned, we're involved with the Northern Border Initiative. It's part of the National Homeland Security. That's the boat.
Does the Ashtabula County Sheriff's have a boat?
They do not.
Did they have one?
This one that we have was offered to them, but they declined it. Now there is the expense that we pay for the boat. That's the insurance, and that's about $8,500 a year. And they say, well, okay, so you're not really fighting crime in the city, but you're paying out $8,500 a year. Okay, I understand that. But the flip side of that is, since we've worked with the state and federal government with the police boat, we've obtained through the state and federal government over $250,000 worth of equipment. Now, some of that was directly from Northern Border Initiative. Some of it was from other agencies that are affiliated with that. I think we've done quite well with in-car computers, license plate readers, and portable radios. And right now, we have a very good working relationship with local agencies, county agencies, state, and federal. And it's good when they call you up and they want to seek you out to work with you, and that's the relationship we've been having for the past several years. Today we have 26 sworn officers, including myself, and 2 full-time dispatchers. And we still have the records clerk and the administrative assistant. But as you can see, we've approximately a third of our department has been, diminished through attrition over the years. It's been budget driven. Obviously, that's the main purpose of the main reason for it. By passing the levy, we'll typically have 5 people on the road, and a lot of people that don't work in police work maybe wouldn't really appreciate this, but I can. I know the officers in the room can. There's a big difference between having 3 guys out there and 5 guys out there. The response time improves, and safety for the officers dramatically improves, and just your coverage, you're able to just do more things, and you can do things more proactively.
Levy is going to generate approximately $500,000 a year, each year for 5 years. That's what it's on the ballot for. We are committed to spending what is brought in from the levy on 2 dispatchers and 5 officers. Yes.
Statement. You're committed. JP's committed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Election's coming.
Mm-hmm.
The next council won't be committed.
Well,
So it can all change.
there's a lot of things that this council and myself have walked into for commitments that were made in the past. Traditionally, you hold up on those commitments. I can't say for sure. Somebody else could walk in and say, you know what? Nope. I'm cutting this police budget by $500,000 because they have $500,000 coming in. We are saying, while we're here, and the rest of those on council, we've all been in agreement with this. So a good portion of those will stay after the next election, even if everybody else is gone. Have said, this is what we're committed to. Wholeheartedly agree with you. Could change tomorrow.
Is it?
Folks, thank you. I appreciate you taking, gosh, it was almost 2 hours tonight. So I really appreciate all the questions.
It was an informative meeting. However, I have some issues in regards to some of the answers. To me, it just created more questions in regards to the management of the APD, Ashtabula Police Department. It's time to move ahead and really look at the actual way that the money is being spent. This city of Ashtabula definitely needs more law enforcement agents on the streets. They need more police. However, the discrepancy comes as how those police are paid for.
Okay, Chief Stell, how do you think the meeting went tonight?
I think it went really well. I think there were some really good questions, and I thought that we had a really great discussion with everybody that was involved.
You want to tell me how you thought it went tonight?
I think it went very well. The purpose of these meetings is to inform the public. Obviously, you can't believe everything you see on the internet. Sometimes you can't believe everything you see in print. So we really wanted to get in front of an audience and explain the need for this levy, why we're doing it, the reasons we're doing it, and hope for their support. But we really just wanted to get the correct answers out there.